You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Good morning and welcome to Capricorn season. It's officially here, as well as winter. When the sun moves into Capricorn, it's at the same time as the winter solstice. So we are in a new energy, a new season astrologically, and when it comes to, the weather seasons as well. And I'm coming to you from the farthest place away from winter, Arizona. So we're streaming on the road again today, and we have this beautiful backdrop. So if you're watching from somewhere that's cold and snowy, I'm sorry, but I can't complain about this. So how is everybody feeling? Capricorn season is here. If you're a Capricorn, let me know in the comments, or if you have major Capricorn placements, where is Capricorn in your chart? That is the question to ask over the next 4 weeks. If you have had a birth chart reading or you've seen your birth chart, take a look at what house is ruled by Capricorn, and that area of your life will likely be affected a little bit more than maybe some other areas of your life, or that's where the focus will be, I should say, for Capricorn season. Good morning, Danny. Thanks for being here. I know we have some Capricorns that are definitely going to be watching today. And as I mentioned, we're doing this on the road, so I'm going to adjust as we're live here because this is a new setup for me. I've got Instagram going, Facebook going, Twitter going. We're streaming everywhere. We are talking about Capricorn season. So what does that mean? Okay, if you're new to astrology, or you're not a Capricorn, or you don't know many Capricorns in your life, well, you might be wondering, okay, what energy does this bring? Well, let me show you. So Capricorn is the 10th sign of the zodiac. It's also kind of known as the father of the zodiac. So when the sun moves into Capricorn, we experience a shift in essentially our energy, our life force energy. The sun rules our consciousness, our ego, our expression, our personality, our willpower. So all of those things will likely be affected while the sun is in Capricorn. And that Capricorn energy, Capricorn is the goat of the zodiac, also known as the father of the zodiac. So it's definitely that masculine energy, very ambitious energy, wants us to keep climbing, keep working towards our goals. You can literally think of a little mountain goat scaling a mountain, and it's step by step, but every step is with the goal to get towards the top of the mountain. So this is a very ambitious energy. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is very slow moving. If you know any Capricorns or people who have a lot of Capricorn energy, they tend to be very practical, methodical, maybe a little bit slower moving, take their time with things. And Capricorn is also a very responsible, stable, serious energy as well. So over the next 4 weeks, we're really looking ahead to 2022, thinking about our goals, thinking about our long-term plans for the year ahead, or for many years ahead if you really want to be an overachiever in Capricorn season. And Capricorns also, they love the money. So we're thinking a lot about long-term investment and wealth over the next month as well. And wealth, success, these are things that, or this is a time to really reflect on what those terms mean to you. Success is different to everybody. Wealth is different to everybody. So when you're making those long-term plans, really reflect on your values when it comes to wealth, when it comes to what stability, what security means to you, especially with Venus going retrograde in Capricorn, the sign of the goat. We are really reflecting on that value piece, Venus ruling our values. So think about what success means to you when you are, practically thinking about the ways to achieve all of your long-term plans. Don't just think about, okay, this step, this step, this step, this is how I get there. Think about the why behind it as well. I also want to look ahead through Capricorn season and show you some major things that are going to be happening over the next month. So today is the beginning of it, of course, and Capricorn season lasts until January 19th. That's when the sun moves into Aquarius. So during Capricorn season, just next week, actually, Jupiter moves into Pisces, the sign of the fish. And Jupiter is the planet of abundance. So when that happens, and Jupiter will stay there for about 5 months, we can dream a little bit bigger. We're more optimistic, but we also we'll feel called to learn more about our spirituality. When Jupiter is in Pisces, it'll be a much more romantic vibe, and really more expansive when it comes to our emotions, when it comes to our connection to a higher power, when it comes to our psychic abilities. Those could be enhanced with Jupiter in Pisces. So that brings a pretty big shift when Jupiter moves into Pisces. It's been in Aquarius for a bit, and that's a little bit more, we've seen the rise of cryptocurrency. We've seen technology really shift while Jupiter has been in Aquarius, which rules technology. While Jupiter is in Pisces, it's more about that spiritual aspect. Our sensitivity is a little bit more heightened, not necessarily just emotionally, but our sensitivity to our surroundings, our sensitivity to the energy around us will be amplified while Jupiter is in Pisces. And then on January 1st, it's really cool this year actually, because the new year brings a big shift in energy. January 1st, Mercury moves into Aquarius. So Mercury is in Capricorn right now as well. The Capricorn energy is dominant. We have Venus, Mercury, and the sun now in Capricorn. So it's stellium in Capricorn, which means from now until the new year, Capricorn energy is dominating. Like, we're all feeling that practical masculine energy, kind of that work-focused energy. But it's important to not just talk about Capricorn in the sense of work and career, but also, that male energy or that masculine fatherly energy, making us enjoy being around our family, a little bit more protective of our family, a leader in our family over the holidays. So that's definitely a nice vibe if you're going to be around family members. So when Mercury moves into Aquarius on January 1st, our words get a little bit more eccentric. Our thoughts get a little bit more innovative. Mercury in Capricorn right now is very practical. Words, thoughts are matter of fact, based in fact. And there's a purpose. You might be thinking a little bit more before you speak. You might be talking even a little bit slower with Mercury and Capricorn. Once Mercury moves into Aquarius, our words will flow a little bit more freely, but also, like I said, just be more innovative, eccentric, be more focused on the collective, talking with a group of people rather than just talking one-on-one, thinking about issues of the collective. And here's what, everybody cares about when it comes to the month ahead: the new moon and the full moon. So the new moon in Capricorn is on January 2nd. This is what I was talking about with that shift in energy right around the new year. So that new moon in Capricorn will look like a clean slate, a fresh start to start building off of the foundation you have laid for all of your goals in 2022. This new moon will really look like a great time to set those intentions, make the vision board, set the goals, and think practically about how you can make them happen throughout the year. The full moon in Cancer comes to us on January 18th, the last full day of Capricorn season, and this could look like a very emotional full moon. The moon is at home in Cancer. Cancer rules our emotions, and it's interesting because Cancer and Capricorn are opposites on the zodiac wheel, and Cancer is the divine feminine energy, while Capricorn is the divine masculine energy. So that new moon in Capricorn has us thinking from our masculine side, has us really thinking in terms of our goals, the facts, the figures, how we get there, setting those intentions in that way. But by the full moon in Cancer, we'll be much more tapped into our feminine side, and our intuition can flow a little bit more easily. We'll be a little bit more nurturing, a little bit more sentimental by the time the full moon makes its way to Cancer on January 18th. So that's just a quick snapshot of the energy ahead. It's nice to, at the beginning of a season, kind of be prepared for what's going to be coming at us. Good morning, Lance. Let's hope for an amazing new year, healthy, happy, and financially secure. That is the Capricorn energy, already talking about financial security. Definitely a Capricorn vibe. So let's take a look at the chart and talk about what's happening today. And I also want to do a little explanation of the winter solstice, because that carries its own spiritual meaning with it. This is the longest night of the year, the darkest day of the year. So what does that mean for us? Well, let's talk about it. So you can see we have our chart pulled up here, and is this the right day? This is not the right day. Hold on. Back to the current moment. Here we go. Okay, so the sun is now in Capricorn, 0 degrees. There it goes. And that means winter has arrived as well. So, we talked about what Capricorn energy means. Well, let's talk about the winter solstice too before we get into what the moon is doing today. So the winter solstice, as I mentioned, is the darkest day of the year. But you have to think in terms, when we're talking about seasons like this, how our ancestors would have celebrated these seasons. Because, we have modern technology. We're not really affected by the light of day as much as, our grandparents and great-grandparents and the generations before us were. The light of the day really ruled what their entire schedule looked like, when they could farm, when they could work. Now we have technology, we have electricity, so we're not affected by the dark quite as much. But winter solstice has a really important connotation in a lot of cultures. During this darkest day of the year, we're asked to find that light within ourselves. It's during this time that many cultures believed the divine feminine figure birthed the divine masculine figure. So you can think of this in terms of Christianity. It was right around this time, right around Christmas, that the Virgin Mary, the divine feminine, gave birth to the baby Jesus, the divine masculine. But even in Egyptian culture, it was believed Isis birthed the sun god Horus. So literally the sun being birthed, the sun being that masculine energy in our solar system. And in Greek mythology, on the winter solstice, Apollo was born, the sun god. So it's not just Christianity that believes this. Cultures for many, many millennium generations have believed that this is the time that the divine masculine is birthed. So fitting for Capricorn season, again, being the divine masculine of the zodiac, being that masculine energy. And a quick note on, divine masculine energy in general. Divine masculine energy isn't that like macho, manly energy that at least American culture has ingrained in us what it means to be a man, Divine masculine energy can be very gentle as well. It's that gentle parent figure Capricorn is of the zodiac. So it is responsible. It is, it has duty on the mind. It's really thinking about family. However, it's not necessarily overly aggressive or, that kind of macho fighting energy. So I just want to clear that up when we're talking about divine masculine energy. So this is the time of year where the sun seems to sort of stand still for the next couple weeks, and night seems really long. We're really in the darkness, but it's at this point that things shift and the sun starts to come out more and more every day. So this is really the time when we're in the darkness to plant the seeds that will bloom in the spring. Lay the foundation in Capricorn season for what you want to build upon throughout the next year. It all ties together, and this is that day to think about what you want the future to hold and take stock of your foundation. Is it steady? How can you make things more secure during Capricorn season? So when you do start to try to climb towards and build towards those goals, your foundation isn't shaky. Capricorn is the builder. It's all about that solid foundation. So really focus on that over the next 4 weeks. All right. It's pretty neat because the moon is in Cancer right now and the sun is in Capricorn, so opposite. So, externally, people are already talking about their financial goals in Capricorn season. But internally, we're still very much connected to our emotions with the moon in Cancer. Yes, I love people talking about this. So ready for Capricorn season. Good morning, Shauna. And I like this. Horus, very similar to Jesus. I am not a big history buff, and I'm not really familiar with Egyptian culture, but I think that's really cool that it's a similar story in all these cultures talking about the birth of the divine masculine. So you can see right now the moon is still in the tail end of Cancer, and it makes a couple connections this morning before it moves into Leo. Early this morning, the moon opposed both Pluto and Venus, because remember, Pluto and Venus are still in this loose conjunction with each other, and that conjunction will go exact again on Christmas. So heads up for that. We already felt that about a week and a half ago, but now that Venus is retrograde, the conjunction will happen again. So overall, we're seeing some shifts and changes when it comes to our values, money, love, relationships, all things ruled by Venus. And when Pluto is mixed in, it can bring like a death and rebirth or a breakthrough, things like that. So don't be surprised if over the next week you experience some shifts around love and money. But the moon opposed both of these planets early this morning. So likely when you were waking up, if you live on the West Coast, or early morning for you if you're on the East Coast. When the moon is opposing Pluto and Venus, it can make us a little bit needy. It can make our emotions feel more extreme. We might also be tempted to spend money a little bit more frivolously when the moon opposes Venus, because we have this need to fulfill our emotions. And when Venus is on the other side of that need, when we're facing off against it, it's like, okay, let me throw money at it, or let me just have the food. Let me do anything to make me feel pleasure, make me feel good. It might not necessarily be the best for your overall highest self, but we can want to reach for those quick fixes to feel good while the moon opposes Venus. And then when Pluto plays into it, it can just intensify those emotions and make them feel more extreme. This energy could have looked like early this morning also. 1 minute you feel totally secure and like you've got it, and the next minute you're kind of spiraling and you don't know why. Your emotions feel a little bit chaotic and intense. But just remember through this, if you are still experiencing any discomfort is there to help us grow, and you don't need that quick fix. The moon luckily moves very quickly, so if you can move through that, you likely already did. You don't need anything outside of you to make you feel good. That's important to remember. And also important, this is in general over the next month and a half, but Venus is in retrograde, so don't text your ex. You don't need to go backwards in terms of love. 10 a.m., so in the next hour or so, the moon forms this awkward angle to Jupiter. So you can see that here. Once the moon hits 28 degrees in Cancer, it forms a quincunx to Jupiter. This is an imbalanced angle. And when that happens, it can feel like it's hard to get out of our comfort zone. The moon in Cancer wants us to feel comfortable, wants us to feel nice and cozy and secure, while Jupiter, on the other hand, is a very expansive external energy. And it's almost like these two energies are trying to balance each other out and can't quite get to common ground. So it could look like an excess of emotions because you're trying to figure out how to navigate whatever feels uncomfortable for you. Again, the moon moves very quickly. So if you're experiencing any discomfort, try not to be excessive or act out or be impulsive. Just try to navigate this and ask what this discomfort is showing you. Is this an opportunity for growth? Jupiter loves us to grow. So when the moon forms this imbalanced angle to Jupiter, it definitely could present an opportunity for growth. Then around 2 o'clock this afternoon, the moon moves into Leo. So here's what that looks like. The moon moves into the sign of the Lion. When the moon is in Leo, we're more creative. We can definitely tap into that inner child. And, I've known some Leos who kind of just, I don't want to say fly by the seat of their pants, but they're very loud and proud and just kind of say what's on their mind. But you can think of that as if you have a child at home or children, you're around them often, they don't really hold back much. And that is that Leo energy of just standing in your essence and making it known, this is who I am. So over the next couple days, we'll certainly feel that. And as we're approaching Christmas, it's really beautiful that the moon is in Leo, helping us tap into that inner child, that passion, that, almost romantic feeling of Christmas and the magic surrounding it. We can be a little bit more dramatic. So that has a positive and a negative, right? Our emotions can definitely be more dramatic with a moon in Leo. It can make it feel like we need you to see our emotions right now. But with more dramatic emotions, I think it's so perfect that there's a lot of holiday, concerts and things in the week leading up to Christmas. People are doing their performances, they're caroling. It can feel like your emotions are on stage, and using music or creativity to let your emotions out is definitely favored while the moon is in Leo. We can have that nice creative release. At the same time, the moon moves into Leo, and this is really the only other connection the moon makes today. You can see it forms a sextile to the North Node. So let's see, where is he? Where is he? There's the moon over here, and the North Node is 60 degrees away. This is the last day the North Node is going to be in Gemini. The North Node moves into Taurus tomorrow. So I see the moon connecting with the North Node early this afternoon as that kind of final glimpse of the direction we've been going for the past 18 months. Once the North Node moves into the sign of Taurus, we experience a shift in direction. We experience a shift in priorities, and the cycles that will play out, the themes that will play out over the next 18 months will be very different from the past 18 months. We're shifting from that Gemini energy to that Taurus energy. So when the moon connects with Leo, right when it moves into Leo, I see this as getting a little closure or a little final emotional ping of all of the growth we've done, all of the cycles, all of the themes that have played out over the past 18 months. Also important to note, at the same time, the moon forms this awkward angle to the sun. Because remember, the sun is at 0 degrees, just entered Capricorn. So when the moon is at 0 degrees, the two connect. And this in conjunct angle, this quincunx to the sun, can make us just generally feel a little bit awkward by this afternoon. It's like our internal emotions aren't quite jiving or flowing with our external emotions. It can feel like internally we have all this passion and creativity with the moon in Leo, and we have so much to say, and maybe our emotions feel more dramatic or overboard, but the sun in Capricorn is like, whoa, man, slow down. You don't need to express that. That is not necessary. Like, cool it. Because the Capricorn energy is much more practical. Like, why? What's the reasoning behind this? So, you might experience that this afternoon, like, ooh, I'm feeling myself, but do I really want to express it? Wait, maybe I should slow down. And, that's for you to decide. That's for you to judge. But don't be surprised if you feel a little bit awkward expressing yourself this afternoon. The moon and Leo will make many connections tomorrow, so the energy will shift a little bit. As far as what kind of connections the moon makes in Leo tomorrow, let's just give you a little preview. It's going to be in the early morning. It'll feel really nice, the Leo moon, what connections it's making. It'll give us more energy. By the afternoon, we could experience a little bit of tension with the Leo moon. So we'll talk about that more tomorrow, walk you through how to navigate that energy. But, Leo and Capricorn don't always mesh. So while the moon is in Leo, just try not to let your rational mind get the best of you. Capricorn energy, like I said, wants to have a reason, and sometimes that can stifle our creativity. So allow yourself to flow, allow yourself to be a little bit more creative, be a little bit more free while the moon is in Leo. Don't let that voice of doubt or negativity creep in, which can definitely come up during Capricorn season. So let's do a little overview and then we will pull a card. Today is the first day of Capricorn season. It's the winter solstice, and it brings a major shift of energy. It's the darkest day of the year. So this time invites us to find that inner spark, find that inner light as the sun begins to emerge. And it's really interesting when you look at history and culture, and the winter solstice being a birth of the divine masculine, a birth of the sun in Christianity and Egyptian culture and Greek culture. And Capricorn season also brings a rise of that masculine energy. So we can all step into our masculine a little bit more over the next month and set those goals. Make sure we have a solid foundation. Make sure we're protected so that we can continue climbing and building and setting those long-term goals and dreams for 2022. The moon is in Cancer this morning. We might be a little bit more in our feels. Our emotions might be a little bit intense because of the connections the moon is making to Venus and Pluto, as well as Jupiter. Then the moon moves into Leo this afternoon, and things can lighten up a little bit, but at the same time, our emotions will still feel dramatic, and we might feel kind of awkward expressing ourselves this afternoon because of an awkward angle between the sun and the moon. So that's what's going on today. If you have any questions, let me know. This is the time. And now let's pull a card. So I'm going to pull from the spirit animal deck today. It's just been calling my name. Here it is. We'll see what animal comes up for us. And I would love to know if you are feeling any shifts yet in your energy, if you enjoy Capricorn season normally. I think it's such a fun time of year always during Capricorn season because we have Christmas, we have the holidays, we have the new year. The winter solstice brings a shift in seasons, and it's just a big shift in general. We're coming up on the new year. How is everybody feeling about that? Where did 2021 go? It kind of just got away from us, it feels like. All right, but let's find out what we need to know. If there are any other messages coming through for this winter solstice. Ooh, wombat spirit. Okay. I've never even seen a wombat. Also, you guys, my nails are terrible. I normally don't hold the card up to the camera because it doesn't focus, but since I'm just using my laptop, you get to a nice close view of my nails. Wombat spirit. And it's so funny, it says be at home. Like, okay, that's definitely some Capricorn energy already. This is card number 68. If that's an important number to you, this is your card. Let's see what it has to say. And it's the last card in the deck. I keep pulling the last card in the deck. That's so cool. Okay. Wombat spirit, be at home. Burrowing deep into the ground, remaining safe, sound, and well-fed with family is a special trait of the wombat. Home sweet home is always available if you recognize that well-being is the truth of life. Wombat spirit reminds you that to be truly at home in the world, you need to find comfort within your own skin. You do this by accepting all of your experience without judgment through a deep honesty and love of life. When you feel the freedom to be yourself, you can begin to truly feel at home in your life, with your family, and with your tribe. Right now, you are in a beautiful place where you can hang up the coat of your identity and settle into a true sense of home and well-being, understanding that all is well. Everything you do from this place rings true in harmony with spirit. So perfect, right? For Capricorn season. And, this reminds me that Capricorns do tend to be homebodies a little bit. And it's no surprise that this time of year, we're all kind of in our homes more during winter, around family, everything this card just talked about. But also, I love how the message talked about being at home within yourself, feeling safe within yourself, having that security within self. And when we talk about Capricorn season, we talk about having that sturdy foundation to build off of. That doesn't just mean externally. That doesn't just mean make sure that, your house is clean and your finances are in order and all of that stuff. It means having a stable internal foundation to build off of as well. So that's what that wombat spirit is reminding us of. And as we're spending more time with family, which can definitely either be triggering or be really revealing, right? Being around family can remind us of certain parts of ourselves or show us things that we might not see about ourselves in other situations. So as you are more at home, being around family, really focus on building that sturdy foundation within yourself. And that will help you succeed in 2022, have something steady to build off of in the new year. My Uranus, Neptune, and North Node are all in Capricorn. So I am happy to welcome this energy. Yes, and many of us in the millennial generation, or whatever you want to call it, have our Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn. And so, we're all about changing the work dynamic, changing what it means to be successful. We're seeing a lot of that in our generation. And I think that will only be activated even more this Capricorn season, especially as we're looking ahead to a new year. And I think a lot of people at this time sort of reassess, am I happy in my job? Am I happy in this state I'm in life, or this place I'm in life? And so Capricorn season, although it's very stable and slow moving, can be very revealing about what's important to us, where our responsibilities lie. Are our responsibilities really lining up with what we want in life? We've created all of these systems around ourselves of, what we have to do, whether it's taking care of other people, whether it's, performing a certain way at work. This is what we have to do to be successful. But this can be a time of year where you really ask yourself, what are your responsibilities? Because at the end of the day, you're really only responsible for your own happiness. So what is making you happy? What would make you feel truly successful? And again, that goes back to the piece of, what does success mean to you? That's creating that stable internal foundation. When you know your own definition of success, you can build off of that and find success that actually aligns with you and your highest self. All right. Any last questions for Capricorn season? Or just, shout yourself out if you're a Capricorn in the comments. Like, happy birthday to you. It's your time. You waited all year for this. I know I have tons of Capricorns in my life I love dearly. I end up being drawn to Capricorn energy. As an earth sign, I love the earth sign. I love that stability of Capricorns. So, sometimes I think Capricorns get a little bit of a bad rep for being too serious, or, just, like I said, kind of slow moving or not being super exciting. They're definitely not the most exciting sign of the zodiac, but we all need that Capricorn energy in our lives. We all need that protective part of ourselves, that stable part of ourselves that keeps us on track and keeps us growing and climbing throughout our lives. So I hope you find that within yourself this Capricorn season. I hope that you spend lots of time with family, which Capricorn season is all about, loves being around family. And also, as you reflect on what success means to you, I also invite you to reflect on your own masculinity, not just for the men out there. We all have the divine masculine and feminine energies within us. So reflect on how masculinity shows up for you, how you express that. That can be a lot of times through working, potentially overworking if there's an imbalance with our masculine and feminine energies. And Capricorns tend to be a little bit of workaholics. So how's your masculine energy showing up, and what does success mean to you? Those are the questions I'm going to leave you with today as we start off Capricorn season on a high note. I'm so grateful you joined me this morning, aligned with the energies, and I'll actually be streaming live again in about 3 hours from now for another episode of The Spiritual Journalist. I'm really excited about today's episode. We have Marissa of Starseeded coming on to talk about what is a starseed. So you might have never heard that concept before, but if you're someone who looks up into the night sky and maybe feels a sense of belonging, or maybe you just feel weird and different. Danny said, I feel awkward expressing myself every day. Danny, you might be a starseed. But either way, if you are curious about past lives, about the universe, about aliens, about different species of beings and all sorts of woo-woo things, this episode is going to be a fun one. And we're not just talking about, these esoteric concepts. We're talking about how to apply this to your everyday life, how to use the wisdom of the cosmos to spark light here on Earth to make the world a better place. So I'm really excited for our conversation. I can't wait to see where it leads us. That will be at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So you can do the math wherever you're watching, but you can join us live right back here on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter, or you can watch anytime on YouTube or on my website, thespiritualjournalist.com. I'll be back tomorrow morning from beautiful Arizona with another episode of Today's Transits, talking all about that North Node shifting and walking you through what might be an intense day with the Leo moon. So we'll be back tomorrow morning right around 8:15 for that. But until then, I hope you have a fantastic first day of Capricorn season. Oh, one more comment I want to get to you before we end this. Oh, you know what? I think this is really important, and I'm glad that I saw this before I ended the stream. Lance, I want to honor your little brother as well, who was a Capricorn. I'm assuming he passed away in a drunk driving accident. And I think that's really important as we're heading into the holidays. We're going to be celebrating. If you are planning to drink or enjoy yourself in any way, make sure you have a sober driver. And just sending you so much love today, Lance, and holding your brother, beautiful Capricorn spirit in my heart, and all of the Capricorns out there. I love you all. And I hope you all take note of your responsibilities and your duty to protect your fellow man, your fellow woman, your neighbor this Capricorn season. That's what it's all about. And he was killed by a drunk driver. And that is, I'm glad you shared that. It's important to remember our responsibility to our community and the people around us, not just our immediate families this Capricorn season. So thank you for sharing that. I appreciate you being vulnerable and sending us all that reminder. And I hope you all have a beautiful day. I hope you have an amazing Capricorn season ahead. I'll be walking through it with you every step of the way here on Transits Today. So I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning. But until then, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.